Now you may be wondering what these two little dots here are for. As I might have mentioned earlier, but generally visible in editor and visible in renderer. If you have this on a layer, as we talked about before, you can always adjust that using the layer. Bring up the little layer browser. You're going to make it not visible in the renderer or not visible in the viewport, or you can simply double click here and just not view them. So it's not visible in the renderer, or not visible in the editor, in the viewport window. If we render it, it's visible. We can make that invisible to the renderer, and then we can render it, there's not there. Oh, it's only seen in the editor window. And you notice down here, when I change this, these attributes do change. And notice there's something that also intermediate called on. Let's say we have a nested object here, the sphere. So if we hide this, but we decided if we had a bunch of different objects in here, so there's a whole bunch of spheres together, just all around. And yes, you can still move things around even though you can't see them. So let's say we have a bunch of spheres, kind of cluttered. We just want to work with one. We can hide all that, but we can make one on, and we can determine what we want to do with that one that is simply on. We hide that, have this on. We can render it, and it'll just render that one sphere. If we turn that off, then nothing will render. Or if we turn this on, then everything should render. Or if we just leave it as is. So that's what on is for. Is if you have something, if you have a parent hiding everything else, you can make it on as a parent, as part of a parent. Now, I probably didn't mention earlier, but you can also change the colors if you'd like to of your layers. Make them anything you want, which is really handy for the most part. I'll be honest, I haven't really used the layers a lot, but I probably will definitely start using them a little bit more often than I have in the past. Now, the other little tag you might be wondering about, when we make something edible, we notice it gets this little UVM tag right here. Or excuse me, UVW. And all that is a way for Cinema 4D and any other program to know how a 2D image wraps around this cube, this 3D object. That's actually part of the UV editor. So we click on just the object and we click on the polygons, a little bit different polygons than the normal. So you notice it has this little texture right here, and then down below here you can read use UV polygon edit tool. It's a little bit different. Decide we want to change the UV map here. Oh, here we go. We can determine how we want all these points and all these polygons to end up on a 2D plane. So right now, if we just select right here, they're all stacked one on top of the other. Not particularly what you want, but we can go into UV mapping probably a little bit later. This is what this tag generally is, though. It's a way for any kind of 3D program to know what is going on. So it's just a 2D map for the texture. That's all it is. You can you can also delete the tag if you wanted to. But then of course you wouldn't be able to do anything. There wouldn't be anything there. To add it back, you could go into okay. To add it back, you can always right click and go to Cinema 4D tags. It's not there. That's probably not too unusual. Usually you never ever delete the UMV tag, but what's simple enough to do is you just get another object, make it edible, and you can just control drag and hold down on the control key. Or yes, control drag. And you can just give it a UV tag with some other object. Of course, results may vary depending on yeah. So here's our cube. and it mapped it to certain points that was actually mapped to the sphere, so results may vary, but at least you get a UV tag back. Oops.